have some rather sad news for you that happened yesterday. Four players on the Palmas soccer team, plus the president and plus the pilot that are playing, all died in a plane crash. President Lucas Meira and players Lucas Praxedes, Guilherme Noe, and Ranule and Marcus Molinari and the pilot all died in this plane crash. The plane crash happened, the plane took off, and then it ended up crashing on the runway. And this was a source from CBS, and it was Roger Gonzalez. So before I even pass on to you or I say anything, I just want to take a moment of silence. Thanks. Um, you know what? Let me start this one off, Nate. Okay. Look, I just want to say this should have got a lot more attention. Okay, because I was looking for stories, and I couldn't see a lot, and I couldn't. ESPN didn't comment.
I'll be
Fox did
honest.
not comment.
I'll be honest. This is the first time I'm even hearing of this. To
Right.
be honest
We're
with you.
talking about we're talking about a plane crash that killed six people. Forget the fact that they're even athletes, okay? It killed six people in a plane crash. If this was any other plane crash, you're talking about it. Now, I get it was in Brazil. I get it was for like a four division soccer team. I understand that. But at the end of the day, this should have had a lot more attention to it than what it got. And I just want people to know that I don't know what our demographic is watching this show. I'm not sure what that is, but I just want to know if anybody even like heard of this or even anybody who's like connected to these people in some way. I just want you to know condolences and may they rest in peace. Yeah, this is obviously a sad thing. I don't know how exactly this plane crashed taking off to the runway. The plane was heading to Goiânia. I'm sorry if I'm butchering all these names, but it was heading to another Brazilian country to go play in a soccer game, and the plane ended up crashing on the runway. And it was reported by the club actually that everybody died on the plane crash, and they didn't really say a lot about it, which is why I won't read the quote. They just said, "I'm sad to inform everybody that everybody on that plane did not survive," and that's a very sad thing to hear because a lot of those people had families. You talking about like again, um, Marcus and Ranule Molinari. They're probably either brothers or cousins or something. You know, they're definitely related, and they died and then together, and that's obviously a sad thing. The pilot died, the president of the soccer team died, and two other players that. So I mean, yeah, this is honestly a very sad thing, and this is the last thing you want to hear about. This is the last thing you want to hear about six people on the team dying, and this happened. And something similar to this happened in 2016, where an entire team died. So honestly, plane crashes and helicopter crashes. Obviously, the most notable one was Kobe Bryant. These have been happening a lot more often than what they should have. And we're a sports channel, but this has nothing to do with sports. Okay, this is specifically like a notice to the people who either build the planes or the people who fly them. Please take those safety precautions because this cannot keep happening. And I'll let it go to you, Nate.
Yeah. Before I continue on, what you were just saying about the planes. May their souls rest in peace. Condolences to their family,
Absolutely.
condolences to the team. That's just absolutely tragic. It's not the first time a soccer team has perished in a plane crash. There was a few of them, in the last decade. I think there was one you just mentioned. There was one a few years before that. I think the plane crashed into a mountain and like the entire team just um. Going back to the plane thing. Yeah, I agree, but I'm not just gonna say this about the pilots. I'm gonna say this about the engineers. You got to make sure these planes are fit to fly, whether this was an accident or not. I mean, I'm gonna go on both sides, right? Like you usually do. Obviously, the as for the pilot, if it was his fault, you pilots out there, you guys need to pay attention. But if it wasn't the pilot's fault and it had something to do with the plane, that's on the engineer's fault. I remember
Right.
last year there was a thing with Boeing. Their 737 plane was being decommissioned because there were just so many issues with it. Southwest was having a lot of issues with them, and not Delta, JetBlue was having issues with them too. So like the engineers need to really pay attention and make sure that these planes are fit to fly because this can't be happening. Like you said, this has been happening very often. You know, but in the case of the Kobe Bryant one, that wasn't the engineer's fault. They were flying in the fog, and that's how that happened. But as for incidents like this, you gotta make sure these planes are fit. Because if they're not fit and you're going to make them go out and fly like that, there's going to be a lot of casualties. That's going to look very bad on you. And again, I'm not sure if that was a faulty issue in terms of the engineering or if it was the pilot. I don't know. That's why I'm saying on both sides. But with that said, both sides seem to be very, very cautious. Planes are very, plane crashes are very, very deadly, and making one mistake with a plane can cause so many issues.
Right.
And that's just something you gotta avoid.
And one more thing, I don't want to just instantly put blame on something. That's not what I want to do. Because
Right.
again, other unfortunate, unlucky things happen. Like something on the plane just like ends up not working, and the
Yeah,
plane
right.
crashes, or maybe somebody didn't check the gas, maybe there wasn't enough oil, or something. We don't know. Okay, more information will probably come out on it, and if it does, we'll be more than happy to present it to you when we find out the actual reason why the plane crashed. If we find no reason. But I mean, yeah, something like this is just sad. This is just a very sad thing to see. And coming from like the information I have right now on how it was about to take off and it felt something, it seemed to me personally, the way it looks, I'm not sure if this is true. It looks like something previous went wrong before this plane even got to fly. That's what it looks like to me. Because if it somehow crashed on the runway getting ready for takeoff, then something had to happen previously. You know what I'm saying? Like if it was in the air or whatever, then you could come up with a bunch of other things, but like something previously was missing, or somebody didn't do their job, or something with the plane wasn't working, whatever it was. But something previously had to happen in order for this plane to crash. But regardless of that, instead of us trying to figure out what happened, the information will come out. Again, I just want to. The best way for us to end this, Nate, is just by saying, may the people who died on that plane rest in peace, and condolences to their family and to the fans of the Palmas Club and to the organization itself.